Word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, His Confound Acharya, Srila A.C. BhaktiVasudev Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Atmanam himself. Cha also. Guru Shrestha, or best amongst the Gurus. Krishnena, by Krishna. Manasa, by the mind. Ikshitam, remembered. Dhyayan, thus thinking of. Gate, having gone. Bhagavate, of the devotee. Ruruda, cried loudly. Premavivalaha, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. Translation. Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. Please kindly respond, repeat. Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. Purport. Vidura was overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love when he understood that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of him at the last moment. Although he thought of himself as insignificant, he was remembered by the Lord by his causeless mercy. Vidura accepted this as a great favor, and thus he cried. This crying is the last word in the progressive part of devotional service. One can cry for the Lord in love. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. Om Gyana Timirandasya, Gyana Janasalakaya, Saksu, Meditam, Jaina Tisma, Si Gurave Namaha, Sajetam Anovistam, Staphitam, Jina Bhutali, Swayam Rupam, Kadamayam, Dadati Swa, Padantikam, Vandasi Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Sahodata, Godadaya Puspavantu, Jita Chandu, Tamam. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Si Advaita Gadarara, Sivasadi, Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna, while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. So, love is a very common theme in our spiritual tradition, our devotional tradition, because the whole process of devotional service is Krishna, Prema, Pumato, Moha, to attain pure love for Krishna. And the Bhagavatam gives express delineation about people who have attained this pure love for Krishna. So that is not a fiction. This is a Vedic historiography. So these are documented incidents of the past. People who tread on the path of bhakti, people who worship the Lord, and establish a relationship with the Lord, and the ultimate outcome. So people cry in general, and they produce hot tears. You're in pain, you cry. But this is not this type of crying. Crying is not a good thing in the material world. The prophet says, this is the very last sentence Prabhupada mentions. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. So Vidura is exemplifying this very success in devotional service. People want to do something and they want to be successful. So we have to keep the goal in mind, the ultimate goal of our services to Krishna, the ultimate goal of our services to Srila Prabhupada, the ultimate goal of our services to the assembled devotees. Because if we have that goal as a focus, then whatever we want to do, we could ask ourselves, is it going to lead me to the ultimate goal? Is it going to facilitate my attainment of the ultimate goal? Because when we come to devotional service, also there are so many distractions. Yeah. In the beginning, we could be very serious, and then we associate with some devotees. We become the seriousness becomes very intense. And at the same time, if we associate with other types of devotees, our seriousness begins to wane. I remember when I joined a temple, so there were a number of brahmacharis there before I joined. So one day I was speaking with one of the older devotees there, and the president, he saw me, and he called me, and he said, "Hey, come here." So I went to him, and you know what he told me? I should not see you standing with that devotee again. So I was wondering, what is going on here? These are older folks there, and the president is telling me not to associate with him. But you know what? After just in 7 days, the guy blooped. He blooped. He left. So, devotional service requires that we work under some guidance. Because the tendency is that I stay around a temple for some time, I take initiation, and then I'm independent now. I go ahead to do whatever I deem fit. That will not take us to Krishna Prema. Even a very simple sadhana that we do every day, the chanting, in the 10 offenses, it is mentioned in the Puranas that one who does not guide against these 10 offenses may chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for thousands of lifetimes. He will not attain Krishna Prema. So it is that serious. And Krishna does not give this pure love so easily. And therefore, we have to try to understand in a deeper way how to be able to attain the success of our devotional endeavor. We have seen Vidura busted out crying by hearing that Krishna remembered him. And one good thing in this very episode is that, in this very Leela, is that if even we forget Krishna at the time of death, Krishna will enable us to remember him. all Krishna will remember us. So the typical case here is Vidura's situation. It's not that he remembered Krishna. He loved Krishna so much that Krishna, you see, yam yam vapis maram bhavam, tad jate antikalebram. The ultimate test, the litmus test, the blue litmus test in devotional service is that we remember Krishna at the time of death. But here Krishna is remembering his devotee when he was leaving the world. So, the devotion that a devotee has, that is what could purchase the Lord. The undivided devotion of a devotee is the unconditional service we render. That is what could purchase the Lord. The Lord is worshipped by so many sages, great, great sages. But in Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj asked Krishna to bring his wooden shoes, and Krishna put the wooden shoes on his head. That's a devotee. Krishna is in his service. So devotional life is a very deep process. So Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 31, how he makes reference to the 11th canto and the 7th canto regarding the symptoms of some of the symptoms of pure devotional service. So he was stressing on this point about crying, horripilation, jubilation. As a Prabhupada makes a comment there that these symptoms are there. These pure love, symptoms of pure love are there. But sometimes the devotee could be overwhelmed. So here it is mentioned that, and Prabhupada also mentioned that, if I am in the main text, it is indicated how, and in the Prabhupada mentions how Vidura was overwhelmed by the pure love. People don't just cry, intentionally cry. In fact, the pure devotee covers all of his loving symptoms for Krishna. But sometimes they are overtaken. They are wrapped over. But it just shows that what the path we are treading on is real. It's practical. And if we prosecute the path meticulously under the guidance of the spiritual master, we will attain the ultimate goal. These incidents are not just put in the literature for folk tales, for just some stories. It's to give us the impetus, to give us the motivation that yes, other people have attained that pure love for Krishna. I too can. And there's no need for procrastination. Because we could go on procrastinating and we never achieve the ultimate goal. Yes, the devotee will pass through even a crash program in order to attain the ultimate goal. But if we understand clearly that we need to attain that ultimate goal, we will not procrastinate. We will pass through the crash program with all dignity. So we come in the beginning to devotional life. We're very ecstatic. We're very serious. And so sometimes the intensity of the seriousness wanes. And so sometimes people ask, how is that? When I came, I was very serious. I was waking up very early in the morning, 3 o'clock, 2:30, 2 o'clock. Now I'm not interested in even waking up to come to Mangarat. How is that? I was very much enthused reading Prabhupada's books. Now I hardly read. How is that? I don't take any boga outside. I take only prasadam from the temple. But now, I go outside and I buy biscuit. I buy the bread, roasted bread, or whatever. How is that? The mind becomes weak. Hridaya Dubalya, weakness of the heart. And this is due to the environment. So association, the type of association we keep, pretty much determines our future. How is that? Because even in physics, there is this principle of osmotic pressure. When two liquids are separated by a cell membrane, the strong solution draws the weaker solution. So each time we have an association, we're hanging out with somebody, we should understand what is going on in the subtle environment. And therefore, it is important for us to choose even our associations. And sometimes we tend to think that, no, my friends are favorable to Krishna consciousness, or even my parents are favorable to Krishna consciousness, so I should go and hang out with them. I've seen a lot of that. Some brahmacharis. I've seen a lot of that. And later they got married. Because the environment impacts on our behavior. And it's not just only a devotional principle. It is a scientific principle. Professor Lewin, the German psychologist, developed the field theory. And it demonstrated how the environment impacts on behavior. Impacts on our values. See, if you put on, in the heart of the winter, you put on, say, 5 thick jackets. five real thick jackets. Are you go out, okay? Be out for 15 minutes. And you see that despite all of those insulations, the cold penetrates in and touches your skin. That's the power of environment. And therefore, we have to understand why the acharyas emphasize on association, sangha. It matters a lot. And I remember when I joined the movement, when I read this concept of association, I do understand from the scientific perspective, but then when it was re-echoed in the Vedic literature, I was really very scared of associating with family members. You know what? For 16 years, 16 years, I never, ever saw any member of my family. I was this same country. Because I was so much scared when I read about this. And I do understand the scientific implications from the theories that I know about. So yeah, the type of association we keep will determine the future of our devotional values. And so here, Vidura has approached Maitreya Rishi. Now in the Bhagavatam you find that there is always some form of dialogue. Someone's making inquiries and the other saintly person is responding to inquiries. This is how the learning in the Vedic literature or in the Vedic tradition is enunciated. It is not that the person who is asking the questions is dumb, but he asks questions to be able to clarify issues and for the benefit of people yet to be born. Now we'll find also in the case of Arjuna and Krishna, it's not that Arjuna is dumb, but he was asking questions for the sake of posterity. And so we can't say we don't have the tools. We have the tools. And within all of these texts, demonstrations are enunciated to be able to convince us even further that yes, if I follow this path and follow and adhere to the tradition, follow up with the strategies, because see, you can initiate a change without following any model. and I've seen this a lot in ISKCON. Even in our Sabbath, I see very brilliant devotees, they propose, they make a proposal. And the proposal is not backed up with any model. And so it's not scientific, and it's just people will reject it and or it will fall apart. So we have models in our system. So people like Vidura, they are good examples for us. And if you look at the background, Vidura, and what was his past life? Yes? Yamaraj. Yeah, Yamaraj. We could say Yamaraj is just after judging people and all this in bed, the demigods who are in different positions or executing different services, they are devotees of Lord Krishna. So, someone has to take bed. So why did Vidura leave his position, or Yamara leave his position, or come as Vidura? Why is that? To be born, not just an amazing situation. If he has a choice, would he choose that? No. But why? Why did he have to take that bet? Where he was minimized, looked upon as someone inferior. Yes? I don't think they hear you. He wants to take the association of devotees. Really? Anyone who supports that? Yamaraj took bed as Vidura because he wanted to take the association of devotees. Yes. Anyone supporting that? Can you support it?
He was cursed by that sage. He upset the sage. That was the pastime anyway.
Yeah. Yamaraj was cursed. He was cursed. The offense supposedly is not his fault, but as the leader, again, these are the implications of leadership, You may say, well, I didn't know about it. Some of his agents tied up this sage, and he was on his stake to be pierced with arrows before later Yamaraj realized the mistake and ordered for his release. But the disgrace has already been met out to the sage. This disgrace has already been met out. Offense has already been committed. Someone innocent, and you harass him, you bully him, you hurt him. In fact, one of our principles is that we don't eat no meat eating. Is that? What does that no meat eating mean? Non-violence. What does non-violence mean? Now, you see, our system looks very simple, but it's very, very subtle and complex. Now, we don't commit violence. But what if you hurt a devotee? Isn't that violence? You hurt a devotee. Each time we hurt a devotee, we are committing violence. In other words, each time we hurt a devotee, we are literally breaking one of the principles. And that is why, look, if you analyze things in a very scientific way, we are like endangered species, so to say. Yeah. How many times we hurt each other? We offend each other. And yet, we are on the path of bhakti. Bhakti means to link up with Krishna. Yoga means to link up with Krishna. Bhakti yoga means to link up with Krishna. But when we hurt the devotee, we are creating a disruption in our linking up process with Krishna. Sometimes, see, this text is a purely a Rasika Bhava text. We can't go into those, a devotional ecstasies. We are not there. And the Sisasakam Lord Chaitanya mentions, just gives a hint about what the chanting can do. The chanting can produce that pure love for Krishna. The chanting, this simple mantra that we are distributing everywhere, that is the easiest way to get pure love for Krishna in Kali Yuga. But even the simple chanting, there are so many rules we have to follow. So sometimes people think, all these Hare Krishna, these too many rules. No, but if we want to attain success in any venture, in any endeavor, we have to be meticulous. We have to follow details. And frankly speaking, our process is very simple, but we can make it very complicated. To attain pure love for Krishna in devotional service, especially what Prabhupada has given to us, is pretty clear. We chant Hare Krishna without offenses, we'll get there. But each time we hurt any devotee, that crying, go look at each time we hurt a devotee, that the chance of attaining that level where we can cry for Krishna, BhaktiVasudev Swami, he's very fond of giving, emphasizing on this point. Are you crying for Krishna? You cry for yeah. It's emphasizing. So, yeah. I was sharing with these devotees at the Soho how I was in Montreal some time ago, and one devotee was leading a group of brahmacharis. They're from Toronto, leading a group of brahmacharis on traveling Sankirtan Harinam. So the leader, he came to me and he said, Maharaj, what is the best way to help these devotees who are traveling with me? I said, very simple. You should treat these devotees traveling with you, treat them the way you will love your beloved younger brother. And he looked at me right in the face and he said, Maharaj, this is very difficult. I said, what is the difficulty? You sit on the asana and you say, Mama evam so jiva loka, jiva bhutto sanatana. It means we are one family, Krishna family. Krishna said, everyone is parts and parcels. Is that not what you said? He said, yes. So why are you saying it's very difficult? Implementation. We can speak very nicely. But if you can practice even one sloka in the Vedic literatures, that will give us a big leverage. So yeah, we're seeing how Lord Krishna, he loved Vidura so much. That was his thought when the Vidura was on his mind, was in his thought when he was living. We can also develop love for Krishna, that at the time, that is at the appropriate time, if we forget Krishna, Krishna will come to the rescue. You see, the perfection or the devotional perfection does not necessarily mean that we have to struggle on our own to become 100% pure. It's very difficult to struggle on our own to become 100% pure. But when we take shelter of a spiritual master who is guided by Prabhupada's teachings. In fact, one of the, I think the third offense in chanting, we recite it, I think most temples they recite these 10 offenses every day in the morning. The third offense, what was it? What is it? Yeah. That looks like a joke. I remember cases of where people just take initiation and they zoom out, they go on their own. So we should think about the next step in our devotional culture. These are the things enunciated by Lord Krishna himself. Tat vidi pranipatena. We should approach. It's not that the spiritual master has passed away. No, approach now. It's a simple language. Approach means the person is. Yeah, you don't approach someone. Approach a person who is passed away. Approach means the person is alive. So devotional service is all about relationship, reviving our relationship with Krishna. But what about our relationship with the devotees? Yes, so it's a simple process. We should not complicate it. We should not make it complex. First, we have to try to see how we are becoming more connected with the devotees around us. Why? Because the service to the devotees around us is even more important than service to Krishna. That's what Krishna said in the Padma Purana to Arjuna. And so, yeah, if you read the Nectar of Devotion, it's full of all these nectars about devotional ecstasy, loving ecstasy, pure love. But we are not there. We're just struggling to even get to the clearing state of chanting. That 32 syllables mantra, that 32 syllables Maha Mantra is what can carry us to that level. All that we need to do is to seriously follow what has been prescribed in a bid to attaining that level. And fundamentally, the 10 offenses is there. Oh yeah. I remember somebody approached me. He wants us to do this, wants us to do that. So I asked him, have you spoken with your Guru Maharaj? So some people, they just have a guru for the sake of a name. And he bluntly told me, there's no need. Why? I mean, it's like someone who has a wife and is acting as a paramahamsa. Why you have a wife in the house and you are not being attentive to her needs, or you have children and you have not been attentive to her needs? Why you marry? Why you have to accept a spiritual master if you are not ready to take shelter of him? Because this is the simple way to be able to clarify our ambiguities and pave way to that level where we can cry for Krishna, following the request of BhaktiVasudev Swami Maharaj. So people have attained that level. I remember one past time I was reading about Prabhupada, and one devotee went to see Prabhupada. I think that was in LA or something. I went to meet Prabhupada, and when he went, he paid the business, and he found that Prabhupada was shedding tears. So he was disturbed. He asked Prabhupada, what's going on? What's the problem? And then Prabhupada explained to him that, you see, I'm crying because my spiritual master, I cannot repay him for his mercy on me. Just now, Krishna came playing on the lawn there. So when I remember how my spiritual master loves me so much, so I am crying out of that. Oh, yeah. Krishna may not come to the lawn and play with us, but Krishna is here. Krishna is here. Prabhupada is here. So we should learn to deeply connect with the Lord, so that we can purify our chanting and come to that level of being able to cry for the Lord. Any comments? Any comments or questions? In the absence of any comments, okay, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's a very interesting thing regarding the Mandukya Muni, Mandavya Muni.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I mean, before I was reading something about that incident, that he said that by mistake when he was sage, that some robbers stole some goods, and then king of that place chasing them, and then he arrested them, but they were in a proximity of the sage, and they arrested him as well. So king punished him also by piercing him with a thumb stake or something, and then later by realizing then that his mistake, tried to redeem, but he couldn't take stake out from his body, so piece of stake remained in Mandavya's body entire life, so he was suffering. But then when he later on went to the court of Yamaraj, then Yamaraj told him this incident, that because he pierced insect or something, ant, therefore he was punished. But it's interesting that then Mandavya Muni said, no, I was child, he said that only up to age of 12, you are not under the whatever, you are excused. Only if you are older than 12, then you get the punishment. It's interesting. That means that even one point is that even Yamaraj doesn't know entire scripture. Second point would be that even Yamaraja made mistakes. That means you can be justly punished even by Yamaraj. And third point would be that Mother Nature doesn't excuse you, even if he's in the Vedas there, because this sage was punished by Mother Nature, but Yamaraj so-called made mistake. It's an interesting incident that...
Yeah, thank you. See, the Bhagavatam also mentioned that this material world, every step you take could be dangerous. Every step we take in this world, we could run into problems. There's no safety zone. And therefore, we should not feel comfortable. We should not think, well, I'll do small now, in my next life I'll continue. You cannot be sure of anything, because you can make mistakes. And even Paramahamsas, they make mistakes and they suffer. See, the beauty of the stringent laws of nature is that if even you're a Paramahamsa, you hurt somebody, you are held responsible. If even you're a Paramahamsa, you hurt somebody, you are held responsible. This is why some of our devotees, big devotees, also run into problems. You can be a big Paramahamsa and you hurt anybody. So the Prabhupada used this word, laws of nature, stringent laws of nature. Yeah, they're stringent. If we even consider the stringency of the laws of nature, we would not like to play around to enable another bird in this world. Because you cannot be sure of anything. Yeah. I think time is up. So thank you everyone for coming to the Bhagavatam class. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.